Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I wanted to talk to you about your social media content. I know lots of you are wondering what you should be posting, how you should be leveraging your social media so that it serves your purpose, okay? And I think it's become quite overwhelming also because lots of people tend to be posting just one type of content. I've noticed that in the education, teaching English, teaching other languages niches, that people mainly post content connected with teaching people the language. And while it may sound interesting and while it may sound like the right thing to do, I'm going to try and not convince you, but show you that there are also other ways that can make you look like an expert and make people want to become your clients or your students. All right. So a brief overview of what we can see online. I'm gonna be talking mainly about Instagram. Lots of you know me from Instagram, and I feel that that's the platform I spend the most time on, but that's also true about other platforms such as LinkedIn or Facebook, although there are lots of problems with posting on Facebook. Unfortunately, Facebook's reach has been awful in the last couple of years. So unfortunately, I don't think there are still any people who just post on Facebook. If you still are, I would consider adding at least one more platform. Instagram is the easy choice because when you post on Instagram, you can turn on an option that would post all your content automatically to Facebook. So that kind of kills two birds with one stone. However, if you are, it also will depend on your niche. So if you are working with professional people, with business English, maybe exams, LinkedIn might be also a good choice. But I'm not going to go into too much detail of how to choose your social media platform, but because that's a topic for another time. Today I wanted to talk to you about content. So, as I said at the beginning, lots of people seem to be posting things like useful expressions or certain grammar aspects, and with some, possible usages and possible ways of using them in a sentence or things like that. Unfortunately, I have to say that a lot of teachers, while their intentions are absolutely great, unfortunately they miss the point there, and they post those useful vocabulary items or grammar items, which, yes, they are useful, obviously. The more a person knows sophisticated grammar and interesting vocabulary, the better, the more fluent they are in their English. But unfortunately, people have missed the point by posting content that's out of context, completely out of context. It's just random expressions, it's just random grammar, not even, sometimes not even put into any sentences. Unfortunately, that's for two reasons. That's something that I say a very big no to. One reason being I'm a CELTA trainer, and to me teaching anything without context is just pointless. I feel that people, especially nowadays when we know how many methods there have been and we've worked through those ways of making people actually remember what we want to teach them, not just sort of, try and guess where, so this one is interesting, maybe they'll remember, or if they at least remember one, I would be happy. I think if you approach it with such an attitude, that's going to be the case. People would just remember your one expression from 3 weeks ago, and that's it. Because unfortunately, you are not giving them a chance to build those neural connections, those connections in their brain that help them acquire new language. So posting a random expression every day, or even, you know, every other day or whatever, is just not effective. So if a good way of kind of, you know, making that sort of content better is I would have weeks, at least weeks, okay, if not even, you know, fortnights, of contextualized language. Okay, so you might find a context, for example, job interviews, right, or whatever, going out, okay, and then post, obviously not every day, because to me that's just boring, posting content that would cover some useful expressions in those situations or in that context. And remember, your sentences that you show them, because I hope nobody is still teaching people lists of words, because that's just ridiculous. Remember, your sentences should always reflect your context. It can't just be out of nowhere. You might say, but why? It's working, people click like. People don't know better. People don't know better. You are the expert. So if you've done a CELTA or if you've done any sort of teacher training, I hope this was made clear to you that context plays a massive role for the reasons I mentioned. So people need to see information within a bigger picture rather than just a list of words or a grammar expression. By the way, grammar. There are also some people who post content with things like present perfect or past simple or, you know, future simple. To be honest, again, people might think that they like it, people might click like or whatever, or say that this is great. However, again, I don't find it very useful or effective. To me, it's much more useful if you present a sentence with that target language in and then do something about it. You can mention at some point that, oh, you may know that that's future simple or that's present perfect. But I would avoid those words that we call meta language, because this is just a massive vicious circle of people trying to understand not only the meta language that we as teachers use, and it's okay that we use it, right? But also trying to master it, while the ultimate goal, what's the ultimate goal? Is it for them to understand it, or is it for them to use it? In my opinion, whoever you meet as a student, as a client, whenever you ask them what they need to improve, what they would really prioritize in their language work, English language improvement work, they would always, or 99% say speaking. So teaching them to understand something is, again, kind of counterproductive, and it's a waste of a lot of your time. Maybe not a waste, because again, there are ways of improving that, there are ways of doing it, you know, fun, interactive, okay? So at least ask people to make sentences with a phrase that you're trying to teach them, and avoid lecture type sort of explanations. I know people might think that they like it, that they need it, but again, all they need to do is practice. All they need to do is to start being confident. People will come to you and say, oh, I need a bit of grammar. Yes, but they don't need as much explanation as we usually give them. They need that sort of very interactive, very real life experience, okay? And I know it's very hard to have that interaction on them when you just post, for example, on Instagram, right? So we have to make it interactive. So that's two things. So that's what people do. They post useful expressions or useful grammar phrases, whatever, grammar structures. There are other things that you can also do. Well, I know and I am aware that there are people who have become very successful by posting that type of content, but I would say that you can accelerate, you can speed up your progress in your business or in your marketing, because let's be honest, this is marketing, by using different types of content. Okay, again, I've mentioned it in another training video. You don't want to compare yourself with everybody. You don't want to think, oh, everybody's posting useful expressions or useful grammar structures, so I'm going to do the same thing. No, you don't want to do that. You want to put a little bit more reflection into it and think about what's really going to make your potential student tick. And a phrase, "it's raining like cats and dogs," is unlikely to make them tick. It's going to be useful, it's going to make them think, oh, I've never heard that before. But is it going to convince them to work with you? So a lot of people are either afraid or they just don't know, and I've got solutions for both of those groups, that in order for people to come and work with you, you can't just post and say, here is all the education in the world I can give you, and then don't mention anything about any services that you offer, because that's not the way it works. The way it works is that you give people sneak peeks of how you work, what they can expect in your lessons, and then tell them, if you want to work with me, you can do this via this link or whatever. This is how you do it. People who expect that students will come just by watching your videos in which you explain grammar or vocabulary, or by seeing your posts with the same things, are just wrong. It's luck or simply just, I'm not sure what it is, because I know there are people who have like tens of thousands of followers, and then eventually someone asks, can I work with you one-to-one, and then they say, oh, actually, why not? But your ultimate goal, you are here because you want to have students, paying students. You don't want to have lurkers, people who just look at your expressions or grammar or things like that and do nothing with it. I mean, you want them to learn it, but that's not your main goal. Your main goal is to attract them to you. So think of that content in more of a strategic way. I'm not against posting useful vocabulary, useful grammar, whatever, but I would say that what is going to attract people to you is seeing how you work and who you are as a person. So I really, really recommend that you create content that is, provoking some, not only provoking some thinking, so like the educational content, but also is provoking engagement, okay? So while your educational content with your vocabulary and grammar and stuff produces some of the engagement, I think you can do more things that will produce even more engagement. Things like asking people some controversial questions. So say you're teaching IELTS, exam preparation, writing part 1, and you post a post with a simple question, even on Instagram, with your face ideally, because this is what makes you stand out, but we're going to talk about it in another video again, asking them or making a very, very controversial statement. I think part 1 writing IELTS is as easy as ABC. Obviously it's not, right? But you can then add something in your description of that post and see what happens. See what happens. Obviously ask people if they agree with you. If they don't, try and make them feel something. This is going to attract them to you, okay? This is going to make them see that you're also a creative person, not only a person who does the same things as everybody. Because if students observe people, teachers on Instagram or other social media, they usually observe a few, not just one. So they see what's going on. So think about it like that. Another type of content that you could consider is writing longer posts. So this could be attached to a website or something that you already have. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it can dig deeper into a problem that your students may have. So in that case, you wouldn't teach them something like words of grammar, but you would describe what they could do in certain situations. Okay, so for example, let's say you are preparing students for their Cambridge exam, okay, FCE or CAE, and you post an article in which you're gonna say 5 tips for your evening before your exam. Okay, it's not that directly related to the language, but this is looking after your student. They're likely going to be like revising like crazy, being stressed. So I think that kind of article will stand out a lot. And then post a sneak peek of it onto your social media, and you're done. That's your bigger piece of content, and I think it's gonna make people, again, be very engaged and very interested in what you do there. And one more idea for you here is that you could post content with what your classes actually look like. So if you can, if that's possible, or if you have any archives on your computer or your phone, take pictures or screen shots of your classes, of your online classes. Tell people, obviously you would ask your existing students for consent, but I'm pretty sure they would be okay with it, and post it on social media. Obviously you would make it look nice in terms of aesthetics, but this is a way of saying, wow, look how cool it is in my classroom. Look at how this person feels. Luckily, you would have taken a picture when your student is actually smiling or having lots of fun, and like, you know, make it desirable, make it something that they want to be part of, okay? Because this is how you create that urgency to, wow, I really want to be there, okay? Then there are also other things that you can do, that you can, obviously, depending on the platform that you use, but especially on your Instagram stories, for example, where obviously some people might think that Instagram stories are just to share their, you know, daily life. And I do a little bit of that, and I'm not ashamed or afraid, because I feel that that's important. That's something that makes me look like a human. And it makes me look authentic, like a normal person, and I feel that that creates connection. But you can do it in the zone of your own comfort. So you can post whatever scenes from your walk and ask them something, some related to what you do, sort of question or poll or something like that. And then you would also share things like behind the scenes. This is amazing, by the way. Posting pictures of you just before the lesson or after the lesson, or celebrating what your students have achieved, or anything like that that will show them that, wow, it's really cool to be part of your lessons. Okay, so this has been a long one. I hope you have some ideas. Write them down now quickly, okay? Brainstorm them, okay, for as many weeks. I usually sit down and plan my content for a month in advance, so I would really recommend that you do the same.